radio, they would do like the radio shows for our games, right? And like after the games, it was kind of just like talking through what happened in the game and like stuff like that. And I would always listen to that on the way back. Because I still do this to this day. Like after every game, we always
Welcome to Wired to the Game.
What is up, y'all? You're wired in with the homie Jake. Today's guest is a Woodrow legend now, and he's currently a Georgetown wide receiver with records at Woodrow for most receptions and touchdowns in a single game, as well as the season, and his career. He was first team Class A as well as football wide receiver of the year. The homie Keenan.
What's happening, EJ? Thanks for having me, bro, and thanks for the intro.
Man, of course, man. Hey, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed by the best. I can't complain.
Sir, yes, sir. So, all right. So, what was the best part of playing at Woodrow?
Yeah, really, I think the thing that sticks out the most to me, more than even playing with like, people that I've grown up with, people that I like kind of grew up playing football, basketball, whatever sports around, I think was really just wearing that Beckley across my chest and like being a flying eagle was something that I always wanted to do. Growing up, watching them play on Friday nights, going to the Armory and watching them play basketball games. It was always something that I had dreamed about doing as a kid. And then once I finally got to, ninth grade and I had that decision to make, it wasn't even really a choice that I was going to Woodrow. So
Mm. So, all right. So, what was the atmosphere like? Because you played both football and basketball. What was the atmosphere like every Friday night and every basketball game?
yeah, man, honestly, it depended on the game. I would say always was going to be fun versus East, no matter the sport, no matter where it was at, if it was home or away, that was going to be a good game. I think obviously, the bigger opponents, like some of the MSAC opponents like Capital, Charles or South Charleston, like those really good athletic schools, used to produce some really good big names. So those would be good games to watch because there's always a lot of people there. Um, Obviously you kind of look back and you think about the rivalry games the most. And those are always so fun to play, especially like in the Armory. That's like always going to be one of my favorite moments as a athlete in general is just winning some big games in the Armory, especially alongside like Dwayne and stuff like that. That will be something I always remember. So for sure.
All right. So, what was your first rivalry game like in both football and basketball?
Well, in football, my first taste of a rivalry game was definitely against East, which we opened the season with them. And you could just tell like the kind of like bad juice between the teams. There was right from the first snap, there was, fights, little scuffles, kind of like last pushes, last shoves, and just really physical overall in football. And we ended up actually winning that game too, my freshman year. So that was a really good, fun time. Got to enjoy that with the guys, got to see them beat their rival, especially for the seniors. And then in basketball, I remember our first really big rivalry game also was against East at their place though. When we played them in football was also at their place, but usually when we play them at the Armory, it's really fun. But I honestly liked playing at East more because of just the environment. It was like they have like their little six man or whatever. And the crowd would be like on the court, like almost on your back, like giving you chants the whole game, chatting the whole time. It's just always a good fun game. So competitive every single time. Always went down to the last, couple possessions or whatever. It was always close, no matter what. So,
Mhm. All right. So, what was the first game you started for Woodrow?
so I think freshman year, I really just kind of got used to the ropes a little bit. I didn't really know. I'd played running back my whole life, honestly. I started actually playing quarterback, but I really was playing running back throughout midget league and then up until middle school. And then I went into high school and I had to switch to like strictly receiver and strictly like a corner safety. Um, and then I like started trying to find my way into those positions the best I could. And my sophomore year, I believe, I started picking up a little bit on safety. We had a really good DB coach as well that kind of helped me understand the game a little bit more, understand the coverage. And they threw me in at like the last probably like 4 or 5 games. They threw me in at safety. And then one of those games I started and I had 2 picks against G-Dub. And that was kind of like my turning point as far as football goes. And then basketball, I didn't start varsity until my sophomore year. I actually started a couple games at point guard because they needed point guards, and that was before I had like grew or anything. So I was really just strictly a point guard. So yeah.
So all right, so what? All right, so do you remember the game that you broke the record for most touchdown receptions? Was it in the same game or was it two different games?
So I actually broke the record for receptions and yards in the same game, um, against G-Dub my senior year. And Maddox and I both broke. He broke three records that night, and I broke three records that night. So it was a crazy game. And honestly, we still lost, so it sucks, but it happens. And so I think I ended with like 13 catches, which is it's a lot, but also, I mean, I could have done that probably every game if we wanted to. In my opinion, we just really didn't throw the ball a lot, and honestly, we were doing that out of a wing T offense, which is kind of weird, but it's the way we went. So, and it worked for a lot of games, and we went to the playoffs our senior year, so that was just a stepping stone to that, and it was just a testament to our hard work. So. Definitely fun time.
So all right, so do you like? Did you know that you broke the record during the game, or did you like figure out in the locker room? Or
No, I had no idea. Actually, I used to listen to the radio. They would do like the radio shows for our games, right? And like after the games, it was kind of just like talking through what happened in the game and like stuff like that. And I would always listen to that on the way back. Because I still do this to this day. Like after every game, we always watch, or I will always watch the game back. Because you just miss little stuff that happens on plays and stuff like that you'll catch the second time through. And I was watching the game back and I was listening to the radio and I actually heard him say that, well, that was the record. And I was like, wow, like I had no clue. And I like tapped Maddox and I was like, bro, you broke a record too. Actually, a couple of them, he was like, yeah, like that's crazy. He was like scrolling on his phone and seeing it. So neither of us knew. But it was definitely a happy moment for both of us after like the amount of work we put in that summer. It was definitely well deserved.
so like, did y'all break the record? Like, what year did y'all break it? Like your senior? Was it y'all senior year? Y'all broke it?
Yeah, it was senior year against G-Dub. It was probably like I think it was week 6 or week 7. We were up at G-Dub playing their place. And it was actually a really hard fought game. It was raining, cold. It was like it was a tough game, but we had to will it through. We ended up losing by like a touchdown or something, but they were counting us out for sure.
So, so what was the best game you've ever played? Would you say that was probably the best game you played?
Um, hmm. I would probably say, yeah, overall. I mean, I want to say no because we lost, but realistically, like stat wise and just the way I performed personally, yeah, that was probably my best game. I also played like several other games where I kind of like would have a good defensive game or like I would have a good offensive game, because I didn't come off the field for Woodrow. So it was like I could make it up on the other side of the ball. Say I wasn't having a very good offensive game. We were running the ball a lot. I would try to go make plays on defense, and that was kind of my mojo.
So, did you ever have a game where you played like, in your opinion, good on both ends of the field, kind of?
Absolutely. One that sticks out to me always was like the homecoming game against Morgantown. Actually, my senior year, I believe I had two interceptions and two touchdowns, and we ended up winning that game. And a forced fumble too. So I was definitely all over the place. It almost felt like that game felt like out of body for me at a certain point. It just was like, I don't know if you've like heard like Curry talk, like he started shooting and like the rim just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was like I just kept getting open and open and open. And it was like I was just trying to make plays when it came to me for real. So
Mm. That's tough. I ain't gonna lie. Two touchdowns, two interceptions is crazy.
it was actually like it didn't even feel like it for real in the moment. It felt more of like a video game. Like I was just out there gaming. Like it just felt like just practice for real. It's not anything different. That's what it felt like. Or that's why I trained the way I trained to make it feel that way.
All right. So, how is the D1 experience for college football been so far?
Yeah, man. It's been great. I honestly wouldn't trade this opportunity for the world. I'm like so grateful that God blessed me athletically, emotionally, mentally, everywhere. to be here. It's definitely been challenging. It's different for everyone. For me personally, I played for Georgetown, which is like one of the most academically rigorous universities in the country and the world, honestly. And then on top of that, it's very, very athletically prestigious and they're very competitive in athletics. So I think that being a part of that culture and like kind of getting thrown into it as a kid out of a small town in West Virginia was definitely a huge change for me. But I think that the football piece of it has definitely made me grow as a person, as an athlete. It's everything is advertised. I don't play big FBS football, but I absolutely play against guys that could. And I absolutely do think that I could, um, even if it wasn't now or in the next life. But it's like it's not that big of a difference competition level to me. I think everyone's just honestly striving for the same goal, which is like the league and to win a championship. So.
Help you like settle into playing D1 football.
Um, Honestly, just my connections here, just using your network. I think like anywhere you go, there's going to be a change. You need to find people that have done it well and have been there before. That can kind of give you like, little tips and tricks, or like even if it's somebody that you can just reach out to when you need help. I think that was something that our football team tried to instill at the very beginning, is that you have old guys that have been in your position before that can help you. And like I just kind of leaned on that and like would reach out to my guys whenever I need help, whether that's in my position group, outside of my position group. Just trying to create a bond within a team that I'm new to, because I'm a freshman again, right? You go from being the old guy to the freshman again. And now I was on a team with players from over 40 different states. So we all have different backgrounds, that kind of stuff. So it just took getting to know one another, like, like which buttons you can press, which buttons you can't press, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I think just really using your network, using your connections that you make, and just there's resources out there to help you. You just gotta reach out and use them.
Mm. So what is the all right? So what do you think is the big difference from high school to college?
Honestly, just the speed of everything. Like, are you talking about academically or athletically?
Both, like kind of both,
Both.
just a mix.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. I think like academically, I would say it's definitely just more personal, if that makes sense. Like you don't have somebody on your back. Like for example, like my mom was always waking me up for school, was always telling me, you need to do your homework, you need to go home from so and so place, or you can't work out today because you haven't done your homework, that kind of thing. It's all on your own now. So it's like you have your professors, you have academic resources, but at the end of the day, you still have to do the work. So that means studying all that stuff outside of practice, outside of class. You have long days, but you still have to come back at the end of the day and study, right? So I think that's just the biggest thing, is just having to maintain or just time maintenance, and like having a schedule that you can continue to do over and over again without getting tired of it. Um, and then athletically, I would just say like, and honestly, academically too, is just like the speed of things, like especially in larger cities like where I'm at, which is in DC. The speed of things is just really fast. Like everyone's moving fast, like just their lives are going fast. So it's kind of like you don't really see a lot of people stop and say like, "Hey, what's up?" It's more of just like a head nod and just keep it going and go to class, right? And like the same thing with football, like football moves really fast. Like the game is really fast in college, and like you have to either like adapt to it or you just kind of get like thrown out of the weeds, right? And like I think eventually the game starts to slow down. The more you play, the more you watch film, eventually it starts to slow down. And I think like now I'm going into my senior year and it's completely like it almost feels like high school again. So really that was the goal when I got here, is to like, grow my body like mentally, physically, get stronger, faster. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to be the best player I could be, and set myself up for the future. So
all right. So what's been the most eye-opening experience for you, like for you for both high school and college?
um honestly, I think was just probably my first couple grades I got here. Going from being like a straight A student to almost like failing my first couple exams, was definitely an eye opener for me in terms of school, because I was like, oh, this is what college is like. Like I didn't study. much. I mean, I studied in high school when I needed to, but like it's a whole different level when it comes to college. Like you have to actually like sit down and have a plan of what you're going to study, when you're going to do it. And I definitely was not doing that. I didn't have my time maintenance was not right, and I messed up the scheduling a little bit on some exams and definitely paid the price for it. But I think overall, it was definitely a learning experience. And that's just like one of millions that I could tell you about because once you get here, it's like you meet so many different people and they all have different backgrounds, they all have different lifestyles, and it's just like finding your groove, fitting in where you can. And also kind of like, paving your own path, be your own person because it's different for everyone. So yeah.
So, all right. So, who was the toughest player you played against in college so far and in high school?
Can you say it one more time?
Who was the toughest player that you played against in both high school and college?
Uh man. Well, I guess football wise, I didn't technically play against him uh, because I was still a freshman and I didn't really play much. And he's on the O line, thank God, because I didn't have to go down there in the trenches. But I played against Darnell Wright, who's now the starting tackle for the Bears. And at the point, he was like the number one offensive tackle, I think number three overall or something player in the country. And we had to play them at Huntington, and it was like. Man, I just remember like seeing him come out and I was like, yeah, like that's a real like NFL dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like from the first snap to the very last snap when they took him out, like you could tell like he was not supposed to be on the field with us. Like he was supposed to be on the field with some other guys that are way, way better than us. But um basketball, there's a couple tough guys. I mean, immediately that come to mind that like I personally guarded. I mean, we have like Cade Matheny was tough from university. I think he's at like Liberty now or something. He went to Bowling Green. We had, I mean, Bunky from G-Dub, Bailey Coles. There's a couple of good guys that I could like name, but I really think like overall, I think that when it came to basketball, the best competition was always within practice. Like there was nobody that I'd never like guarded in practice that was like tougher than somebody I would guard in a game. So I think, um, yeah, when it comes to basketball, nobody really sticks out, but definitely football is Darnell Wright. Yeah.
All right. So, how was it to play in the state tournament for football?
Yeah, man, that was like a blessing. Honestly, I think nobody expected us to be there, including our own like fans. And like it truly showed towards the end of the year, like when we started having that opportunity to go to the playoffs, people started buying in a little bit within the team. Because you're playing for something at that point, like Woodrow had never been playing for something. We were just playing for wins. And then when you actually have like a light at the end of the tunnel, I think that kind of like lit a fire under our guys. And like it truly showed that they wanted to play for us, for the seniors, because we only had five seniors that year, and like that's not a lot when it comes to football. Like you need some like older guys, considering there's what 11 different positions or whatever, but like or 11 different players on the field. And they all play different positions. Like you need to like senior leaders all over the place as much as you can get, right?
Yeah.
But I think like really that was just, you know, a a testament to not only like our hard work, but us just like buying into the program, whether it was strength and conditioning, school, all that stuff. Like it all plays a piece into being successful. And I think like at the end of the day, like it wouldn't have been able to be done if it wasn't for like Coach Surratt, like the administration and like people at Woodrow that were helping us out, um, under the behind the scenes, and like I think. Also, just like big shout out to like all the players too, because like it wasn't easy to get there. We actually like had to, it was almost like a play-in game. Like the very last game of the season, we had to win. And we had to beat that specific opponent to get in, and we ended up doing it. And they didn't think we were gonna beat them either. So it was like, and that was also like a really big game for me too. Like I think I had two touchdowns and a pick. And that was like, I mean really all I wanted to do was win. And like I was in tears after like because I'd never thought that that's where we would be. And it was just like even to make it to the playoffs was an accomplishment for us. I felt like even though it didn't end how the way we wanted it to, it was still an accomplishment to be there. For sure.
Yeah, because that was the first time Woodruff made the playoffs. Was like I think 2013-ish, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's 2011. Yeah,
for forever.
somewhere around there. So yeah, it was like, I mean, at that point, that was what, 10 years? It was like a little over 10 years. So
And to do that and bring spirit back to the Woodrow into the Woodrow fans, that must have been amazing. That must have felt amazing.
yep. And I think if I'm not mistaken, they've been back every year
Yeah.
since I left there. I mean, now I think there's only however many teams in the bracket. That's how many teams were in AAA last year. But I think definitely there's definitely a change in the culture from that. As far as just the work ethic that needed to be done to get there, the players seeing what it took to win, how we lost all those years before that, they had seen that as well. But I think like it just all came to fruition when we actually got to make it to the playoffs for us. So.
All right. So when did you really start pursuing football like the way you did?
Really, I played football my whole life, but I was always like a basketball player first, and I just played football to keep me in shape, right? And I would say over COVID was really when I started taking football seriously. I hit like a huge growth spurt. I went from like 5'10" to like 6'2" and a half, 6'3". Um, and I just started like lifting crazy weights because I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't go anywhere. So honestly, KJ Jones, and me and our defensive back coach at the time, Brendan Clements, who was a player at the Navy or for the Naval Academy and worked out for a couple of NFL teams. Um, he's actually like huge shout out to him. Like, I don't think I would have been anywhere like near as in love with the game of football I am before I met that guy. And like over COVID, like he just kind of just pulled me and KJ along. Like he was gonna work out regardless of if we win or not. And I think like even that made me respect him as a more as a coach and as a person, like as a man, to like show up every day regardless of if anybody else is gonna be there. Um, and like we just started going to work out every single day at Family Worship Center in Beckley. Like we weren't even allowed on the football field. So we were just in a big church grass field, just like doing parachute runs, hill sprints, like all that stuff. And like it was every single day without fail. And it was like eventually like stuff started opening up again, like we could start going to the field again, and we just kind of transferred that all over to like the facility. So we started just using Planet Fitness and like stuff like that, you know. But I really think like that was a turning point for me as far as being a football player, because I really just fell in love with the grind and I fell in love with, you know, being a football player, like the work that it actually takes, because it's not like every other sport. Like you got to train every aspect of your body, every aspect of your game. Like you can't leave any page unturned, because it will get exposed. And I think like that was when it really clicked for me that like I could be recruited as a football player, at a high level as well. So
To work on a church grass, that takes a lot of dedication.
yeah,
That
for sure, for sure.
man. So all right, so how is it playing at Georgetown?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's crazy that I'm still even to think now that I'm like a senior, it's crazy that I'm here. Um, but really I think we play like we don't play huge like big FBS opponents because we're in the FCS, right? So we play a lot of Ivy League schools, your Browns, Columbia, UPenn, those kind of schools. And then we also play Patriot League opponents, which is our conference. You know, Lafayette, Fordham. Holy Cross. Those are some big schools. And then we just added Richmond, William and Mary, and Villanova as well. So we're getting some bigger opponents added. But I think like at the end of the day, like it's been a huge like growing opportunity for me, both like as a professional, like as a person, in my professional life, and also just like as a person in my personal life. Like I've just created so many opportunities for myself to network with people and make new friends that I would never think I would meet. Also just like putting myself out there because like once you like I'm from West Virginia, it's not how it is. Like there's not a lot of people that make it out from there. So I think just at the end of the day, I was just trying to put my name out there and just let everybody know like, oh, I'm Keenan Cook, I'm from West Virginia, like this is what I do, right? And I think it took some time for sure to get like confident, especially like on the football field, like once I'm learning the playbook and stuff like that. But I mean, now once you kind of get your swagger back and you can like start playing freely, you don't have to think as much. I think that really just took a lot of pressure off of me personally and allowed me to play a little bit more free, a little bit better. So for sure.
Understandable, understandable. So, when did college coaches start looking at you for football?
Uh, Honestly, like they had the whole recruiting, like standards and stuff like that. You can't really recruit until a certain point. But I think I had a couple looks going into like right out of COVID. So like going into my junior year, which is when they're allowed to like start recruiting you. I had a couple like small like West Virginia like colleges hit me up, like your Fairmont States and like your like in-state schools, right? But not anything like WVU or Marshall. And then I started going to just like 1 day camps as much as I could. Like that's really what I did my whole high school career. I would just go to like WVU 1 day camps, Marshall 1 day camps, any like close big school that I could go and like get in front of coaches and just honestly take the coaching too and just apply it and see what I can do. Um, I felt like that was the best because like a lot of times you see a lot of guys go to like the big like rivals camps or whatever and they get like ranked, right? Like 4 star, 5 star, whatever. I didn't have rankings. I didn't go to any of that stuff. I just took like the straight college route. Um, and I think like after I guess that summer, the summer going into my senior year, I went on a bus tour with Maddox down like the East Coast. We traveled to like 10 different states. I think we like hit like 18 or 19 different Division I football schools. Um, and like got to tour their facilities, meet the coaches, go to camps, like all this stuff. Crazy experience. And honestly, I was blessed to have the facilities to do something like that because I met the Georgetown receiver coach at a UMD camp while I was on the bus. And that's what ended up turning into my offer, or my first Division I offer too. So, and then like after that, after they offered me, I started getting all kinds of coaches hitting me up that like either Georgetown plays or like just like surrounding schools. I know that a lot of like the bigger schools in West Virginia, like WVU and Marshall, see me post that and they're like, "Oh, he can play Division I football, but like we don't want to offer him." So I didn't get an offer, but I got PWOs, and I honestly had like a lot of scholarships built up from like my high school grades and stuff like that. So I probably could have went that route too. But I think Georgetown was just always the place that I felt like I'd still tell the recruits this, like when I meet them, like I'm just go somewhere where you're wanted. Like at the end of the day, like you need to go somewhere where you're wanted and where you can contribute to their mission as a team, right? And like make sure that it's a good fit for you and like your family and for everything. Cause like it's not gonna just be you at the end of the day. Like it's gonna take a team. So um yeah, I think like Georgetown definitely always showed the most love. Recruiting wise, they definitely made me feel like I needed to be here. And I think like that was the biggest thing that just always stuck out to me. So I jumped at that opportunity
Hey, that's tough.
for sure.
All right, so how did you face the adversity that you went through during your college, I mean, during playing high school?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think the biggest thing for me was always just staying grounded in like my faith. I always grew up like reading the word and like I was a Christian, but I never really got deep into like why I believe what I believe. And I think like Georgetown is a place where, I mean, obviously it's a Jesuit school. Um, so like there's a lot of opportunities for me to grow in my faith here. And I think like as a Baptist Christian, I kind of like step outside of like, like that Catholic box and like just let the like spirituality kind of grow inside here. And I think you can tell like just like the being around people that are like God centric kind of allows you to do that yourself. And that has always just been like my step, like my fallback tool. Like anytime I ever am down or like I'm feeling like I need like a break from everything, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's always just God for me. Like I always take a step back and pray and like kind of like meditate, think about what I'm doing. It's never that deep. Like the world's still spinning, the air's still blowing, like it's gonna be all right. So yeah, I think definitely just and like I said earlier, just like using my network, always having a team around me, whether that's my parents, whatever, like my family, it could be anything. Um, so I think definitely just knowing who's there for you when you need them and just not being afraid to reach out too. So,
So, so what's the game day playlist looks like for you every game day?
man, so our team's a really early rising team. Like we practice at like 7 in the morning. So it's a little different for everybody. And our games are at noon, so we don't play at night. So I would say, honestly, I wake up really early, probably like 6:30 or 7-ish. Always have to shower, do that kind of stuff, and then go team breakfast. Team breakfast usually goes straight into meetings. We have meetings, and then say we're like on an away game. I always like, this is kind of like one of my superstitions. Like I always eat the same foods. Like I don't ever eat like anything outside of like if they have a new like dish on the breakfast, because it's usually like a breakfast, like, like kind of like buffet, like just continental breakfast. So I'm not gonna like get something that's like gonna kill my stomach in the game. So I'll get like some fruit or whatever. But I always eat like the same fruit and like the always like banana, strawberries, whatever. But like I never try to get anything outside of that. Or like I always drink orange juice. I don't drink any other juice. And it's just like a little weird kind of like superstitious stuff that I do. I always listen to gospel music on the bus to kind of like calm my mind. And then like right before I like go to like actually play is when I like, the young boy kicks in and like that kind of stuff. And I gotta like really like flip the switch. Because like I've been calm for too long. I honestly think I should probably flip that. Start with the young boy and then finish with the calming music, the calm gospel, chill me out. But because there's a lot of emotions that flow on game days. It's kind of like everything kind of flies by, the whole day flies by, and it's just like boom, you played the game, it's over. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, what was the craziest catch that you've ever made?
Man, I would definitely say uh, I've had a lot of crazy ones that just like on some like flight stuff, the cameras just weren't on. But like I think the craziest one in game was definitely for me against Morgantown, the game I was talking about. I had a crazy tip catch that was like I think it was number 3 or 4 on the Huddle top five that week. So that was
That's
pretty cool. Like Huddle posted me and like I got like a couple like I probably got like 100 followers of just like random football high school kids from like around the country that watch Huddle and they see me and they were like, "Oh, like that was a tough catch," and they just like followed me and like, so I think that was definitely my craziest one. It was just kind of like a bobble, should have been picked off, got lucky, kind of like turned around and like bobbled it into my hands and ended up scoring. So yeah,
that's tough. Well, all right, so when did you realize you could go D1 for football?
Man, definitely over that COVID span, I started growing. And that was really all I needed, I think personally. Like I just needed to be put into the body, right? And I think like I had the mentality, like I had the mindset, like I had the work ethic. I knew what I needed to do. But I was just like not physically blessed with like height or I was really skinny. So I was like always undersized, right? And I think over COVID I started growing. And then eventually like at the end of my senior year, I was up to like 6'4", like 185 or so. And then now I'm like little over 200 pounds and like I'm still probably around like 6'4". So I think like I mean I really just kind of grew into my frame. I'd always had like big feet, so I was just waiting for myself to grow. I'm like, dang, I gotta grow one of these days, right? And it finally hit. So I think like that was like a turning point for me, just realizing, like, personally that like that stuff wasn't going to be a factor anymore. It was really just between me and like my work ethic and keeping my grades up, which I felt like was two things that I could control. And like that was really all I could care about is like I just needed to put it into my control, if that makes sense, and like just control the controllables. So yeah.
So, all right, so what was the best accomplishment that you gained from football?
I would just say like I mean, trophy wise or like biggest accomplishment is definitely just becoming a Division I football player. I think that was like the biggest accomplishment for me as of like right now, like current accomplishments. I think like that was definitely something that I'd always dreamed about. Whether it was football or basketball, whatever it was, I always wanted to go to college to play a sport and get it paid for. And that was something that I'm doing right now. And like every time I think about it, it's kind of like crazy to think like, oh, like I used to go through all that work to get to these shoes that I'm in now. And like you kind of just like take it for granted sometimes. So I think like honestly, just being here is an accomplishment in itself. I would say in high school, um, the Loop Press wide receiver of the year was definitely cool. And getting first team all state, which was in DB, cool. That was crazy because I was mainly a receiver, but I got first team all state as a DB, which
That's
was
tough.
my secondary position. So it was cool. But yeah.
All right, so what's the best thing that football has brought you though? Like outside of football, kind of.
Yeah. Honestly, I think everything that you do in football kind of relates to life. Like whether it's, I mean, for us, like I get up at the crack of dawn every day and I got to go lift with a bunch of guys that are from all around the world or all around the country, I should really say, and a little bit outside of the country too. And like I think just like having that mentality of like, something is gonna like get taken from you if you don't like work for it, right? And like the opportunity is there for you, you just got to grab it, kind of thing. And I think football teaches you that, like especially if you start playing at an early age, like you're gonna get knocked down a lot, like you're gonna get roughed up, like it's gonna hurt. Like football teaches you like about pain and like how to like manage that and like keep like fighting, like when stuff gets tough, like that you're gonna keep going. Or like just being resilient, I guess you could say is like resiliency is definitely one lesson that I've learned from football. And just overall, just being like tough under pressure, I think too. Like you have to do your job so 10 other guys can do their job. And then therefore it's kind of like a big like clock. Like it's like all like a clockwork. Like every gear has to work a specific way to make the clock work. And I think like once that gear gets thrown off, then none of them work, right? And I think like football teaches you that, like that accountability that like, oh, I have to do my job so the 10 other people beside me can do their job. Which like goes into the workforce and like stuff like that, team building, that kind of stuff, and just communication. So
Well, that's it.
that's it.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
man.
Thank
I
you for your time
appreciate you.
today. Thank you for your time today. And make sure everybody stay wired in and show Keenan some love. And yeah, until the next one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do it. Jesus loves y'all. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
and stay wired in. Until I'm not gonna do it. I don't know how to do it,
Yeah, I
but
got
yeah.
you. Look, like, point. It's like this. Jesus loves you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough.
Yes, sir. That's a touchdown Sally this year.
That's tough.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. That's
All right,
tough.
brother.
All right, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, man. Hey, make sure y'all stay wired in. Yeah.
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 All right.